So it might seem like I'm going off in a slight tangent here, but let me ask you this. I know that you don't have medical backgrounds, you don't work in the medical field, but last time you saw a doctor in a hospital or a clinic, what were they wearing? Scrubs. Scrubs. You got that, everyone? Scrubs. Absolutely. So you might ask, well, what's wrong with a doctor wearing scrubs? Well, if they're working in a surgical specialty or they're working nights, nothing wrong with wearing scrubs. But I have noticed, and this is a classic example of where the medical profession falls down without even realizing it. I've noticed in the years since I've graduated, doctors simply putting less and less effort into what they wear at work. And you might think that this is a minor issue, what's wrong if doctors wear scrubs? But when I graduated, I remember there was a big emphasis when we were on the medical or even surgical floors as a junior doctor, I would wear a shirt and tie. And this continued when I came to the United States. That was very much expected. I remember in residency, the males were expected to wear a tie whenever they were on the medical floors. Now, over the last few years, particularly with the pandemic, this has gone completely out of the window. Nowadays, for want of a better word, when I look around and either I've been working or I've visited people in the hospital, and I look at how doctors dress nowadays, and this is even on television, to me, it looks like a large percentage of doctors look like they've literally just rolled out of bed. And the problem with this is that the medical profession doesn't realize the subtle cues that you're always giving off with little things. Now, this may seem like a minor issue, but it's not a minor issue because it symbolizes a profession which has fallen from grace. Putting in effort into how you dress, dressing to the nines, dressing to impress, is extremely important, even from a psychological level. There have been studies done on this. And when doctors are rolling into work in scrubs, often creased, sometimes they're not even washed, that gives a very bad impression to our patients. And even dressing down on certain days. Now, I'm a big believer when I work in a clinical capacity, when I'm in the hospital, I always wear a shirt and tie. And let me tell you something interesting. Even in the days where this hadn't completely fallen by the wayside, there was a tradition that on weekends, doctors would not wear their ties. Male doctors would come in their shirts or their jeans. Now, what sort of impression does that give? We already know from studies that there is a drop-off in care on weekends. This has been shown consistently across countries. And you wouldn't go to a hotel or a top-class restaurant or fly on a plane and the pilot says, oh, it's the weekend, I'm not going to wear my usual attire. Or in a top-class restaurant or hotel, they suddenly don't dress up. No, they maintain their high standards. So I've consistently been asked, since I've been a doctor, on weekends I still show up in my tie, still wear the same clothes I do on weekdays. People say, oh, you're wearing a tie. I mean, they say that even on weekdays. But on weekends, people are stunned. I'm thinking, no, why would I not dress my best? Because I am giving you the message, and you all work in different fields, especially in business. Business people understand this more. You don't drop your standards. So I am giving off the vibes that I will maintain my standards no matter what. Unless I'm working nights, which is quite rare these days. I don't work in surgery, so why should I wear scrubs? I will wear an ironed shirt every day. I'll wear a tie, put on my white coat. I know in the UK, doctors don't wear white coats anymore, but in the US, we do. And I will give off the vibe to my patients that I am always going to give the same standard. I'm not going to dress down over the weekend. I don't show up at work like I've rolled out of bed. These things are very important, and other fields understand this, but medicine does not. And I'm a great believer in the broken windows theory. Now, we know that in medicine, again, I'm going off in a tangent, but many of you could probably relate this to the fields that you're in. When you let subtle things go, then big things end up happening. And this is one example. If a doctor can't even dress up for work, then what sort of impression is that giving?